Well, I'm right with Simon. There's no way they're involved in a relegation battle, and they won't be either. But Big Si in Sussex has said, on a light-hearted Manchester United subject, have you seen the Manchester United fan on Instagram who's not cutting his hair until Manchester United win 5 games in a row? Wow.
He'll have dreadlocks by the end of it.
He will. He'll be like Rapunzel, won't he? They've lost 12 or 25 league games. They're 15. Things haven't really got any better since Ruben Amorim has been brought in. How much blame, Troy, do you think Amorim takes for how poor they've been?
Yeah, obviously has to shoulder a lot of the blame. I still think he's doing a good job off the pitch. And what I mean by that is the window that you had just for January was about who you can get out. So he's trying to change the ethos and the whole... The things that people don't see, Jeff, the things we know about in the changing rooms, how people conduct themselves, what they get up to. And he's trying to change that. He's moved on from Marcus Rashford. He's moved on from Anthony, tried to move on from Casemiro. Clearly identified these guys don't do what I would like, and they have a negative impact on other people. So is it going to be... I feel like you have to bottom out. I really do feel like you have to bottom out. And Man United are nearly there, and they will only come up from that. They didn't buy players like they have done in the past, which is throwing money at it and getting January transfers. Igalo, Weghorst, people like that who have come, who are short-term fixes, who have stayed there probably longer than they should have done. He's realised, right, I'm going to have to bring these kids through. And, you know, you said Rio Ferdinand said they won't win one game. I'm just looking at their games. Next game is Everton away, followed by Ipswich at home. Man United should be looking at those games, saying that they're perfect. I know they're not going to feel that it's that they can win every game at this moment in time because the confidence is low. But you can't be afraid of Everton and Ipswich, surely not as Man United.
No, absolutely not. Look, let's get the thoughts of the Athletics Manchester correspondent. It's a very good morning to Laurie Whitwell. Morning, Laurie.
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no, it's
Morning,
a pleasure,
legend.
Hey, Troy, you okay?
Welcome, mate.
Oh, a lot of respect going on between you two this morning.
Absolutely.
Look, as far as Amorim's concerned, he was saying, I think yesterday, my job is so hard. Clearly, he doesn't think this is what it said on the tin when he took the job. I mean, is that fair? They shipped plenty of players out. They haven't shipped too many in.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously referring to the environment that he's come into, the finances of the club. I mean, you know, the fact that they're going to make more redundancies around the club is a real hammer blow, I think, to a lot of people because that, you know, creates a certain mood around the place. It already happened in the summer, and that does. He reflected on it on Friday. That does creep into the football bubble that you have. You try and sort of maintain it as a coaching, a player environment, but actually people's moods around the place does have an impact on what you're able to do and the kind of sort of positivity you're able to generate. But yeah, I think the fact that they only signed Patrick Dorgu, 20-year-old from Lecce, he looked promising, right, against Spurs. I thought he did a lot of good stuff, but he's not a player that is going to transform your team, and he still has issues in the attack. Obviously, Ahmad being out for the rest of the season, I mean, wow, that is a huge blow. And you've got Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee, Alejandro Garnacho, who just aren't scoring. So, yeah, I think that's what he's referring to in terms of having a really hard job. Whether to say that is another thing, but I think he's kind of a guy that just says his mind and speaks what he thinks. So we have to accept that.
I think also, Laurie, he's telling the truth. There's nothing that we're seeing here that isn't like weird and wonderful. It's what's happening. And again, I know you're closer to it than most of us, but do you feel like I do, which this window is about clearing the decks, getting as many people out, setting themselves up to have a really good pre-season and identifying talent that they can do moving forward? Yes, they're going to suffer, but also they're not going to get relegated because they are Man United and they can put it together.
Yeah, I mean, I keep doing the maths on it, and 12 points to Ipswich, and I mean, in previous years, you think maybe they would be because West Ham went down with 42 points at one stage, didn't they? But now it's like sort of 30, mid 30, so it's a couple of wins, isn't it? And you feel like they can do that. So maybe it is ridiculous to even be speculating on that. But yeah, I think you're right, Troy. That the January window for him was about, and the club, the wider, the hierarchy at the club was about sort of cleaning the decks and making sure that the people that were there wanted to be there and had that kind of attitude to train the way that Amorim wants, and also finances. You've got big earners, Marcus Rashford, Anthony not so much, but Casemiro clearly they obviously wanted to shift on. I think he only played against Tottenham because you had so many injuries, 3 midfield injuries plus then Christian Eriksen being ill, and yet we saw, didn't we? I was surprised that he lasted as long as the 91st minute, but yeah, I think that's going to be one in the summer that they try and look at again.
I mean, look, I'm with everybody. You know, for me, United are not in a relegation battle. But one thing I would say is when you look at the fixtures, Laurie, you know, Everton away, Ipswich at home. The problem for United is nobody fears them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Ipswich will go to Old Trafford feeling that they could get a win, maybe, you know, certainly a result. I mean, you've got Liam Delap there, who's, you know, scoring goals, 10 Premier League goals for the season. I mean, United, you know, are looking at him for the summer potentially, and he's somebody that, you know, imagine if he was in the side, 10 Premier League goals, you've got Rasmus Højlund on 2 at the moment, so there's a disparity there anyway, and this is why teams will be able to feel like they can come to Old Trafford and get points. You know, Bournemouth have won there, Brighton, Crystal Palace, you know, there's Nottingham Forest. I mean, I know they're having a really good season, but there's been a lot of teams that have come to Old Trafford and won, and also the atmosphere. You've got fans certainly that are trying to get behind the team there. They were singing Ruben Amorim's name non-stop in the last home game that I went to, but I think there's a certain anxiety maybe around the place, and it has felt more difficult for the players to perform at Old Trafford than away from home.
Yeah, I disagree with that. It's more difficult because there's negativity. Play for Man United, it's a big boy shirt. Put your big boy pants on and go and play. I also think when we played there 2015-16, we never went there with fear. We thought we could get a result because it's been something that's been building over a 10-year period. I've just got one quick question before we have to go to break, Laurie. We look at the landscape of strikers at this moment in time. That there's not a great girth of number 9s in world football. Why does Man United, and this seems like a very simple thing for me, why does Man United not ask somebody like Andy Cole, an absolute legend, to come in every Thursday for an hour and just speak to these lads, Xerxes and Højlund, and say, here's the nuances of it. You're already paying him as an ambassadorship. Can you come in and help out?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a novel idea. I mean, they had Ruud van Nistelrooy at the start of the season, didn't they?
But he wanted to be a coach, though, didn't he? I'm on about somebody that doesn't want to impact the coaching staff, doesn't want just come in and solely work with the strikers.
I mean, it could happen. It would take a lot of. I mean, I guess Amorim is quite a humble guy, but I think it would take. I mean, that's why he basically said to Ruben van Nistelrooy, "I don't want you around," because he could have kept him, right? You know, he could have sort of said to him, but he'd be like 6th in command under his, you know, coaching structure that he's got. He brought a lot of guys in, so it would take a guy that is okay with that kind of stature, and then also Ruben Amorim saying yes, let's do it, because he doesn't want to, I guess, get exposed as okay, this is the guy that's the key to it all. But I mean, I'd be intrigued if there was something that like that could be done.
Yeah, well, Gabby Agbonaho, of course, has already offered his services. He did his coaching badges on the same course as Ruben Amorim. He hasn't had the call back just yet. Laurie, thanks very much. Have a great week, mate.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, guys. You too.
7:14, lovely amount of to and fro between fans on Merseyside. Roger from Nantwich says, Everton builds stadiums, Jeff. His lot builds stands. I think we might hear a bit more about this.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.